There is a case where an elderly lady in New Mexico sued McDonald's over her scorching coffee. She brought her case to court. This lawsuit caused the coffee's price to soar from 49 cents to 2.86 million. Let's find out what happened. The coffee burning lawsuit case. McDonald's was established 63 years ago in 1955. It is also one of the world's most famous fast food restaurants all over the world. McDonald's is a popular choice for people who want to settle their 3 meals or a quick bite to eat when you're hungry. Coffee in particular is a popular choice when it comes to ordering food. However, such a simple and normal thing as buying a coffee had made McDonald's sell the most expensive cup of coffee. In February of 1994, Stella Liebeck, a 79-year-old New Mexican lady, had her grandson drive her around. Liebeck desired a hot beverage to help her warm up from the chilly weather. She pulled up to a McDonald's drive-thru and purchased a hot coffee for 49 cents, a coffee that cost less than $1. After the purchase, her grandson drove the car to the car park and stopped to make it easier for Liebeck to add the milk and sugar to the coffee. Usually there is a place to put the drinks between the driver and passenger seats. But Liebeck's car was not equipped with such a feature. Liebeck had to hold her coffee between her legs to get ready to open the lid and add the milk and sugar. After all, she's not very handy in her old age. The cup of hot coffee was spilled the moment the lid was opened, spilling it between Liebeck's legs. If it's iced coffee, it would have been a cool and freezing experience at most, but the temperature of the hot cup of coffee can be described as a boiling level. The trousers that Liebeck was wearing did not provide any protection. Instead, they absorbed the boiling coffee. For a teenager, you would have jumped up immediately and taken further action to reduce the damage. But at 79, Liebeck couldn't get away fast enough.
All I remember is trying to get out of the car. I screamed, not realizing I was burned that bad. I knew I was in terrible pain.
Liebeck's grandson was terrified by the situation and didn't know what to do. He quickly drove her to the hospital for emergency treatment. As Liebeck was already in her old age, her body's metabolism was not as strong as that of a young man. Her skin was also vulnerable. This boiling cup of hot coffee caused third-degree burns on the inner sides of her both legs, groin, and 10% minor burns on the rest of her skin, making Liebeck's life in danger. It's lucky that they were able to get treatment quickly. 8 days later, Liebeck was out of critical condition. It took 2 months for the wound to heal. Liebeck's age, however, did not allow her skin to heal on its own, and she had a skin implant to restore it to normal. Liebeck had to undergo severe skin surgery as a result. It took nearly 2 years for her to regain her capacity to care for herself. Rebecca suffered severe physical and mental trauma as a result of the hot coffee mishap, along with significant financial loss. Despite Rebecca's family helping her apply for government elderly medical assistance and purchasing health insurance. Even after deducting the insurance and subsidies, the family still had to pay $160,000 for medical and other bills. Back then, this wasn't a tiny amount. The more they thought about it, the more Liebeck concluded that McDonald's selling this hot coffee was risky. She was on the verge of death.
I was not in it for the money. I was in it because I wanted to bring the temperature down so that other people would not go through the same thing I did.
They made the decision to file a claim with McDonald's in order to receive compensation. However, since they were the ones who spilled the coffee, the other party is not entirely to blame. She thus requested $11,000 from McDonald's to cover her medical costs. When McDonald's heard this, they declined the request and expressed regret that their hot coffee had caused you to burn yourself. However, you spilled the coffee, and we had a warning label placed on the cup. McDonald's could only afford to compensate Liebeck with $800 in the end. Liebeck's daughter was indignant when she heard McDonald's response. "You expect me to accept $800 in exchange for a hot beverage that nearly killed my mom?" She wrote a very detailed letter of complaint to McDonald's. According to the letter, the expense of compensation would be $20,000. Still, McDonald's was only ready to provide an $800 settlement. They were also open to appearing in court. McDonald's response enraged the Liebeck family, and the Liebeck's daughter began seeking for a lawyer to take the issue to court. The search led to a lawyer, Reed Morgan, who had fought against McDonald's before. This lawyer had previously helped a man who had similarly been burnt by McDonald's coffee and won a $20,000 lawsuit against him. To her, Morgan was the lawyer sent by God to help Liebeck's daughter win her case. So Liebeck's daughter told her lawyer what had happened. Morgan expressed his willingness to take up the case after hearing this. He was well aware that under U.S. law, consumers must provide proof that the product was faulty, and the faulty is that the coffee was extremely hot and could potentially burn people. But that isn't perfect evidence. Morgan then looked into how hot the coffee was at McDonald's and other fast food restaurants. A loophole was eventually discovered. McDonald's and other franchisees adhere to a set of guidelines when selling coffee. The temperature of the coffee is somewhere between 82 and 86 degrees Celsius from the moment it is prepared till it is served to the customer. Although the hot coffee in other coffee shops is also hot at 65 to 70 degrees Celsius, it is still cooler than the hot coffee at McDonald's. The crucial temperature proof was gathered. Morgan went to a reputable medical laboratory and requested them to validate a fact. A cup of 82 degrees Celsius liquid is enough to induce a third-degree burn on the skin in 12 to 15 seconds. A liquid at 70 degrees Celsius would take 20 seconds to do the same amount of injury. After gathering the necessary proof, Morgan sued McDonald's for $90,000 on behalf of Liebeck in the District Court of New Mexico, claiming that the hot coffee Liebeck purchased was obviously faulty and presented an unreasonably high risk of injury. In American civil court procedures, there is a mediation court where the parties can come to an agreement before a formal trial begins. The court will only formally take the matter for trial if the settlement fails. So both parties begin the mediation procedure. McDonald's stated that I won't even pay $20,000, let alone $90,000. Morgan had given McDonald's a chance, but they refused to take it, and now Morgan had raised the compensation to $300,000. The mediator observed how things were becoming out of control. He thus recommended that both parties take a step back. How about a $225,000 settlement? McDonald's firmly disagreed. Consequently, Morgan responds, "See you in court." She stated during the trial that she wasn't suing McDonald's for financial gain, but she wants the McDonald's to reduce the temperature of its hot coffee in order to protect others from experiencing the same problem in the future.
I was not in it for the money. I was in it because I wanted to bring the temperature down so that other people will not go through the same thing I did.
Such cases would have often ended in failure in the past. After all, the court will look at a case and arrive at the broad assumption that the claimant caused the injuries via her own negligence and seek to pursue legal action to get compensation. As a result, the claimant will often lose or have their case dismissed. The court case generated a great degree of media interest. While few journalists arrived to support the narrative, the majority were hired by McDonald's on assignment to defend their name. Liebeck faced a lot of pressure from the media. Before all of the evidence was presented, the jury believed that Liebeck had spilled her coffee and scalded herself, rather than McDonald's. You might be asking why the jury wasn't shown the evidence they had discovered. It's because based on the American system of trial procedure, for cases that raise a commotion in the society, those selected jury members are instructed to avoid contact with the outside world in order to prevent being misled by public opinion and so-called evidence. Until the trial is held, they are not given access to all of the evidence. When the trial finally started, Morgan presented the judge and the jury with all the available evidence. They were all stunned when they saw the images of Liebeck's terrible coffee burns and the conditions she was subjected to throughout her treatment. It was obvious that everyone already supported Liebeck on a deep emotional level. However, it was insufficient to use the emotion card to sway the decision. Morgan then seized the chance to inform the court of the accident information related to prior sales of McDonald's hot coffee. Everyone present in the courtroom was taken aback by the discovery. Over 700 complaints of hot coffee burns have been made in the past 10 years alone. There are more than 10 instances of injuries with a similar degree of seriousness as Liebeck's. And every time before they ever went to trial, McDonald's reached an out-of-court settlement with all of these burn victims. This includes the same burn case that Morgan received earlier. Given how popular its restaurants are, McDonald's only has $50,000 to set aside to comfort these unfortunate customers in the event of an accident. The jury's perspective on McDonald's has since changed. The McDonald's manager who appeared in court provided a logical justification. The reason why temperature of McDonald's hot coffee is fixed at this level is because the National Coffee Association found that coffee tastes and smells best between 82 and 86 degrees. The 1 billion cups we sell each year are evidence that customers like the coffee we sell. Have you sought guidance from the doctors who specialize in burn care if your coffee is so good? Have you ever wondered what would happen if someone was burned by the hot coffee you sell? The McDonald's manager claimed, "We didn't ask the experts," in response to his perception of injustice. Although we didn't consult the experts, shouldn't it be common sense that hot coffee burns? So why is it our responsibility if they accidentally spill the coffee? The McDonald's defense attorney began to counter with statistics, claiming, "We sell 1 billion cups of coffee a year, which equals 10 billion cups in 10 years, with only 700 burn incidents. That is barely 7 in 1 million in terms of probability. Clearly, our McDonald's hot coffee is absolutely safe. The chance of an accident is negligible." Morgan responded with this.
Personal safety is not something that can be clouded by probability. If it occurs to someone else, yes, it's 7 out of a million. But if it occurs to you, it is 100%. Why not avoid accidents by adjusting the temperature of your coffee? Why not enlarge and clearly display the reminder on your coffee cup?
As the jury heard the battle raging between the two sides, they concluded, "Those high-end coffee shops sell are not as hot as yours. You are in line with the general public. There are many people who come to buy coffee. I can't believe you didn't seek expert advice. So many people have been burned by your coffee and you have no idea how to improve the measures." Morgan, the claimant's attorney, was correct. McDonald's is obligated to pay the opposing party $2.86 million in total, which includes $160,000 in damages and $2.7 million in penalties. This was not something that McDonald's would approve, but Morgan's proof was highly convincing. The case was also widely covered in the media. Any more holdups would only hinder their business. Finally, McDonald's lowered their head. They then reduced the hot coffee to 70 to 72 degrees Celsius. Additionally, they put the words "cautious, I'm hot" prominently on the exterior of their cups. Because of this, many coffee vendors have opted to use spill-proof packaging and lower their coffee temperature. A hot coffee that was supposed to cost less than $1 ended up costing $2.86 million. This steaming cup of coffee really costs a lot of money. You are now watching. Thanks God it's payday. We'll be back soon with another amazing video. That's what I hope. Thanks for watching, by the way.